I think we have a really good chance to stop it in the House because it does such serious violence to the health care of people in California, New York, and other places.
All right, I'm going to put Nancy Pelosi down as a maybe on that Republican repeal effort. I don't know where the serious violence comes from, but again, she's not a fan of a host of other Democrats with even tinkering with the Obamacare, so-called Affordable Care Act, to former Cincinnati Republican mayor, big Donald Trump backer. In fact, very early on, saw the promise in Donald Trump all the way to the White House. Ken Blackwell with us right now. Ken, very good seeing you, but I was thinking and hearing her remarks and thinking of the peaceful overtures that look to be developing between the president, certainly Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and back to him. I'm wondering how long-lived that is. What do you think?
Well, look, Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to give the president a win. And if it was just that, you might be able to understand it. But not giving the president a win on health care means hurting millions and millions of Americans. And I'm not sure she wants to own that, but she will own that if she torpedoes this deal.
Or maybe she's calculating that it will come back to boomerang the president, that he and Republicans destroyed something good. I mean, the facts don't support it. I know what you're saying,
right.
But how do you interpret that?
Yeah, first, I think she has to admit, if she doesn't, she has the imagination of Jonathan Swift. And that is, Obamacare is a failure. And it's tanking the economy, but more importantly, it's hurting families.
But it's the Democrats seem to be rallying around a single-payer notion or Medicare for everyone, but that is increasingly, at least those who are entertaining, presidential prospects of their own, for Bernie Sanders to virtually everyone else, Elizabeth Warren, that seems to be the direction they're going. So that's what they're resting their lot on.
Well, that's unfortunate. Look, the Cassidy Graham fix, it's not perfect, but you can't let the good be the enemy of the perfect.
But do you think that's passable? Because this is the latest attempt. It has a little bit more support than did the last effort that failed in the Senate. Didn't even get to a vote in the Senate. But what do you think?
I think it's passable because, look, I work with groups that were on the front lines for Trump, the Family Research Council, Susan B. Anthony's list, and they were strong advocates for full repeal. But they're on board with the president and Cassidy Graham in this initiative because they want to get something done. And they know that this does major surgery to Obamacare, and it really does meet the objective of making sure that the people who need coverage get coverage, and it's within a framework of old-fashioned federalism, pushing back more authority to the
But do you think that
states.
this is robbing time as we look at some of its key tenets, whatever you think of them, that it's robbing time to get tax cuts done, and that was on a dicey schedule enough?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. It goes back to there are some folks who are hell-bent on making sure that the president doesn't get a win, even if a win for the president is a larger win for Americans in terms of, fueling economic growth and job creation and put Americans back to work and providing them with health care coverage at a reasonable cost. And so this petty politics that's going on, led now by Nancy Pelosi, is not without its cost.
Well, do you think, I always see you as like a diplomat trying to bridge the divide between the establishment, and that's an overused phrase, I apologize, and Donald Trump. And many in the establishment had said, as soon as the president reached out to do that debt ceiling hurricane aid deal with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, that the writing was on the wall. He was all but giving up on Republicans. He was going to entertain deals with Democrats, maybe get votes from Democrats for a tax cut package that, in order to win them over, will not include cuts for the rich, and that the Democrats aren't going to play ball. He's bending over backwards to accommodate them, please them, and they're going to stick it to him.
And that's their objective. Look,
that's the Democrats'
objective. And look,
but you can understand why a lot of your colleagues are saying, "Well, this is who you're dealing with."
Right. And here's what I do know, Neil, having watched the framework of his domestic policy being constructed. If we want to get to things like, violations of open sky agreements, if we want to get to things like making sure that the disastrous Iran deal is reversed, we have to get tax cuts done, and in order to get tax cuts done, we at least have to establish the framework for bipartisan cooperation on this health care package. And so if they're not going to come across and help us, then we, in fact, have to first start to
but
get to 52 votes.
We don't get tax cuts done this year. Is it safe to say we're not going to ever get it done?
Yeah, if we don't get major tax cuts done this year, we're not going to fuel economic growth. I don't think they're going to be major, do you? Well, I think there has to be middle-class relief.
Right.
And we really do have to cut the corporate rate, get it down to 15% so we can.
It won't get to 15%.
Well, I'm going to hold fast.
No, I wish you would. I think that would be very, very helpful, but I don't see that.
Whatever triggers, maybe it's 18, maybe it's 20, that triggers, that capital that's
but it'll be a lot lower than it is
coming
now.
Back in and fueling our economic growth is so important. Look, we actually got to get it done. Elections, as Barack Obama let us know, elections have consequences. I think Senator Schumer and Congresswoman Pelosi need to revisit that statement by Barack Obama and get with the program for the American people.
Yeah, because they don't have a lot of time.
They sure don't.
Right. Very good seeing you, Mayor. Thank you very, very much.
Always good to be with you, sir.
He is bridging that gap. He's Switzerland. Right? That's a good way to explain it. You're Switzerland.
Working hard.
There you go. All right. Thank you very, very much.